Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to the Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer Tournament. We have got another match coming for you here today. This is a one-on-one matchup between two very scary opponents who are both very intimidated by one another and respectful of one another. It is Willson and Eiko. One-on-one match from our round of 3 of the Swiss. My name is Vuligin. I am here with Ushebti to bring you this match. Ush, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Well, I'm very excited for this one. It's always a great matchup when both of them, or when both runners have some fear for each other.
Well, I know that from your experiences, you are pretty well acquainted with Willson. So why don't you tell us a little bit about him and what we can expect tonight?
Oh, yeah. Wilson and I have a current standing of 5-12, so he's definitely been beating me a lot. He's currently been going for very aggressive go modes, so there's a chance that either he's gonna just start going towards trees really early and potentially set himself up for randoring, or going for an extremely fast time. Why don't you tell me a bit about Eiko then?
Well, Echo, of course, as we've mentioned many times in the tournament, is incredibly knowledgeable about the randomizer, has made a lot of tools to help people out. And what we've seen from him in the tournament so far is his play is very methodical. He knows a lot about the logic of the randomizer and is able to bring that to bear. So Willson is definitely concerned about that, and Eiko is going to hope to use that to his advantage since, Wilson's raw execution level is a little bit higher.
Definitely. It's kind of a brains versus the bronze kind of matchup.
We also do know, of course, that both of these runners are very excited for this race. They've been anticipating it hotly, and they are both absolutely sloshed with anticipation here to get this race underway, which we will be doing in just a few moments.
What kind of seed are you hoping to see, Vuligin?
I do like a jet seed now and then, but having just seen one a little bit earlier today, I wouldn't mind getting something a little more complex, a little more, cerebral, both runners needing to, use their thinking brains and try to figure stuff out. How about you?
Yeah, I want to see something between a really horrible seed, like something that gives them skills early, but still requires some deep digging. So we get to see some execution and thinking from both of them. Something that plays to both their strengths.
I love that on both sides they enabled color shift and then they got their first pickups and they both liked their colors so much that they turned off color shift immediately. So that's pretty cute.
And yeah, the first pickup being a keystone, potentially, if we get one more, allowing them to go to the left side. And a map stone as well, so the map altar on left side is now available as well.
Echo being very demonstrative with his mouse currently, not really drawing anything in particular. I'm not seeing any letters. He's just kind of scribbling, possibly, try to alleviate the nerves a little bit by just kind of doing something idle with his other hand. And Willson, meanwhile, he's just kind of, going about his thing. Willson does have a lot of experience in another tournament of this game that happened earlier this year.
Yeah, the All Skills tournament where he won it, if I'm not entirely mistaken, which is very, very impressive. There are so many really talented All Skills runners. I'm kind of hoping we get to see Dash at some point, because if there's anything that really defines an All Skill runner, it's their ability to use Dash.
We do get a second and a third keystone here, so we do have the ability to go to the main area of Glades, and Willson also checking the fake flippers pickup. It's just 7 XP, so not anything special, but at least he has that knowledge. Eiko is going to do the same, except he took some damage actually, so he's going to just go store real quick here.
Yeah, and a vanilla health cell. Gonna help them a little bit stay safe, but I could imagine that both runners are very familiar with Glades and won't have too much trouble with it. So not entirely useful yet.
We are heading down to the Mount Monument to get our first skill, Dash, immediately showing up. So that opens up a couple interesting options for us right away.
Yeah, there's some pickups over on the left side. I forgot what the area is called, but they become faster, much more accessible. You don't need to look for a wall jump. And Willson on the left here seems to be kiting a Frankie over to double bash it. I've never seen that before, but there's Dash.
What a reward for that. Jeez.
Yeah. Definitely worth it. So I got what I asked for.
Yep, and Eiko will be getting that pretty shortly. You see his mouse movements again as he collects Bash. He's pretty excited about that. Also pretty excited most likely for that energy cell. And Willson, meanwhile, I'm sure will be very happy to have both Dash and Bash. We'll probably see, having Bash in hand, we'll probably see some Spirit Caverns in the near future. That is in logic. We might also see the Frankie walk all the way at the beginning of the game to collect one XP pickup that has a pretty high chance of being progression.
Yeah, that's a bit of a devious pickup because it does take a long time to set up. And I could imagine that ability cells become very, very well liked at this point because at some point they will be able to upgrade Dash to break plants and kind of get these Dash these plant checks that might not be in logic yet.
Yeah, and gonna take a number of ability points to do that. It's a total of 9 that you need to spend. You can get them from, of course, ability cells, but also from leveling up. So they'll be looking for a combination of that. Eiko might not be entirely pleased to see Dash. I know he's actually said a lot of times he kind of prefers non-Dash seeds, largely because if you're not like a speedrunner, it can be pretty difficult to make fully effective use of Dash. But wow, that's double jump. We kind of already are seeing kind of a jet seed here.
Yeah, it is forming up, but I don't want to write it off as a jet seed just yet. It's really going to come down to where the clues are going to tell the runners where to dig for keystones. Or not keystones, dungeon keys.
We see Willson having the enjoyment of having to navigate Spirit Caverns with only double jump. There is a way to climb walls with only double jump, but boy, is it ever inconvenient and kind of a pain. So he's not going to go for that. He's just going to make use of the projectiles here, having Bash in hand.
Yeah, and doing a really clever double bash here in order to not get stuck down in the spikes by using the shot here. We're all done. Meanwhile, Eiko over on the right, double batching a Frankie up to check this ability cell. I like his furrowness.
Yep, he just gets some XP for that. And he will now be making the same play towards the Spirit Caverns. Willson does appear to be coming back for this exact same check right now. And then with double jump, I think all that really leaves is that Frankie walk pickup. I think that's what they're going to have to go check.
Yeah, because Blackroot is not in logic yet, it seems. They will still need some kind of wall jump or grenade.
Oh, I'm dumb. They have 4 energy. They have access to the Death Gauntlet now.
Right, that could be a really interesting play as well. Or Gladeser. We might see that from Eiko. Kind of hoping.
Willson did miss out on that XP pickup a little bit earlier on, but he does check it out this time. He also did not have any wall interaction to get the energy cell near the wall jump tree on his first visit. So he's going to give that a shot right now. And that requires, as mentioned, the annoying double jump wall climbing, but he pulls it off and he gets a keystone for his trouble, which maybe not the most valuable thing, but I guess it'll help eventually.
So yeah, it seems that... Wait, yeah, Death Gauntlet can't be in logic yet either because they don't have any wall interaction.
That with double jump and bash, that is not needed. They can bash off the slime. I believe that's in logic.
But getting up to the energy door requires wall jump. I guess they could kite the Frankie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Eiko doesn't want to do that, so he's going to try some double jump wall climbing. Didn't quite work for him. Willson with double jump wall climbing is going into BRB, and I want to say Eiko's not going to do that. This is a totally out of sequence play, but they do have the Grove teleporter, so that might be where Eiko is headed while Willson is doing this.
Right. I don't see anything particularly wrong with both plays because I could imagine that Willson is confident in his ability to get through here, even without wall interaction. But Eiko is following... He didn't take the teleporter. He's going to go for the lure.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and Frankie walk here.
Yeah, these Frankies are a bit pesky sometimes. They don't always want to hit the gap where they come down to you. And a nice air jump from the Frankie there.
There we go. Willson collecting his 4th keystone from the All Skills XP in Blackroot Burrows. That's actually potentially pretty important. The 4th one giving him access to go through the top door of Spirit. Oh, that's a rough death for Eiko, unfortunately, on his Frankie walk. But he'll get back for a 2nd attempt now, and then hopefully not have that same issue happen again. Wow, what is happening with that log, Oosh?
Yeah, the log physics are a little bit interesting in Ori. They can definitely go swinging like crazy. It's kind of interesting that Willson decides to not use the Grove teleporter, but go all the way up Spirit Caverns. Oh, he's going for Glades, or? I like this play. Glazer is just one of those pickups where it could be so nice, and like you can be fairly certain that most people are not going to check it. And it is in logic with double jump.
I wonder if this is kind of like an anti-Eiko hedge play by Willson, where he says, I don't want Eiko to be able to like check something that's a little bit out of the way and get a big advantage on me. So I'm going to check something that's really out of the way because I think my execution will offset that.
Yeah, but...
And oh my Water Vein. Come on, video game.
See, people hate on Glazer, but it's just always great value.
Those always, definitely always.
Yeah, anyone wanting to play the rando, just write it down. Glazer is good.
Oh my goodness. Well, Water Vein in hand, Willson will go back to actually finish up BRB. He actually interrupted his visit just right in the middle because he said, I got 4 keystones, let's just go check this thing immediately. But he actually didn't even go out the top of Spirit Caverns anyway. So I don't know. It was some weird play by Willson, but it's certainly paying off right now, and it's not like that bad to do that, so working out okay for him.
Yeah, it's really interesting that none of them have gone for the Grove play. I think that's what I've really wanted to see from them at this point. And Eiko going for the Glide Vault here. Very scary with 1 HP.
And no wall interaction. There's no possible way. That's ooh, that's a play.
Yeah, he also recognizes it really quick and decides to do something else. So it's an interesting diversion we've seen from the runners so far. One decided, I'm going to brave BRB, and the other decided it's grotto time.
So Willson being short of energy to be able to do a save glitch on this cutscene at the end of BRB, so he is going to be watching it, which only costs a little bit of time. It's not that crazy or anything, but, you know, it's one of those things you want to be able to skip it. Not quite this time. Eiko, meanwhile, descending into Gumo's hideout with still no plant breakage, so he's not going to be able to check these plants, and he is going to, unfortunately, fall into some nice sharp spikes that deal 5 damage, which is a little bit out of place here.
Yeah, those spikes can be kind of confusing because the spikes on the other side only does 2, so... But it'll be interesting to see if he manages to find something down here that can get him going.
Without wall interactions, so much of this is just really not a thing.
Yeah, you'd almost imagine that wall interaction possibly is placed earlier.
I would guess, and Skull in our truck is also providing the insight that it's most likely at the Charge Flame tree. They've had the Grove Teleporter for a while, and it's possible both of them have straight up forgotten that the Grove Teleporter exists and that they have it. But it seems pretty likely. That's a really nice pickup, though. Extra double jump. No one's going to complain about that, as Eiko picks that up at the redirect ability cell down there in Grotto.
Yeah, the added advantage is that it's going to make interacting with the wall a lot easier because you get so much further, and if you miss up the refresh on your double jump, you still have one more jump.
This is, man, Ush, you wish for a little bit of a more difficult scene, and this sure is providing. Just both of them are having to do all this awkward crap to just get around. Willson is now going to go and blow his 4 keystones on this door up here, which I don't think he remembers that he doesn't need to do because of having the Grove Teleporter.
But I don't blame them for forgetting because it was provided really early, and it's like it's one of those things where I can imagine in the beginning of a match like this where you're a little bit nervous, like there's a lot of other things going through your mind than paying exactly attention to this white text that pops up on your screen.
Yep, completely agreed. It's very teleporters are like the absolute easiest thing to forget, especially the ones you get early on. So in any case, it shouldn't be a huge deal. Keystones are usually plentiful, but we have seen some races where they do matter a lot. So we'll find out as Willson gets to enjoy a little bit of lore here. Ico managing to check the redirect area using only double jump, but unfortunately it turns out to be nothing, so he's going to have to do a little bit of double bashing here to check more of these pickups.
This is a really cool play. That's it's definitely creative. Almost losing the shot there, but holding on to it. Oof.
It's all right. He's got his friendly neighborhood frog here. He can make use of him to send up here unless he eats the frog in the face. That's not what you usually want to do, unfortunately.
And I want to divert attention to the left side with Willson because he is now in the charge flame tree area. And as the truck pointed out, this is most likely where the progression is. And he still hasn't found anything but experience.
And he has to, first trouble is he has to double jump, wall climb his way out just so that he can come back up here. And he's got to do it again to get over this little hump so that he can get to the charge flame tree. And he's got to be careful because this Franky's right here. But he does get by, and he is going to collect Swamp Teleporter.
This seed is definitely throwing him for a loop. Oh.
This is perfect. So Willson says no thank you to the Swamp Teleporter. He's going to go through the Death Gauntlet door, except he would have to double jump wall climb up it, so he says maybe not instead. Plus, I need to check that Franky Walk XP, because I might be getting randoed right now, so let me go ahead and grab the Franky and do that.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? Because they must both be feeling at this point like, I must be missing something. And they don't...
Oh my god. Swamp TP is too good, Ish. It's so stupid.
I was kind of thinking, what could Charge Flame be other than some wall interaction, and Swamp Teleporter was definitely a good answer from the rando.
Oh my god. Ooh, Willson not quite getting the double bash there, but he does get the bash on the second attempt, and it's just an energy cell. And getting this set up for a Franky walk if he still had the door open, closed, but he doesn't, so that's just hilarious.
But yeah, it seems like Willson is just going to make the grotto play as well. And as far as we've seen from Ico, there hasn't been anything super huge. So it'll be interesting to see if Willson decides to be very thorough on this pass through as well, or just go for the tree and turn back.
Well, he's definitely going to start by picking up that teleporter and also taking a quick save. And he is teleporting to Swamp, so he just wanted to get the teleporter accessible for now, and then he will figure out what to do from there. But I think he's saying, let me just follow what is quote-unquote obviously the progression. Oh, okay. Some wind restored for Ico right near double jump.
Yeah, that's going to be quite useful later if they also pick up glide. But it's not a super hidden location, so I wouldn't be surprised if Willson decides to check this as well at some point.
Now here's an interesting and slightly awful note, Oosh, as Ico picks up Stomp from the double jump tree. That's pretty large. The interesting and awful note is, with no wall interaction, but with bash and double jump, we are informed by Hydra, helping us out briefly in the truck, that Horu Fields is in logic.
Oh, like all of it? Well, except the plant, I guess.
Yeah, not the plant, but oh my gosh.
This gets better and better and better.
The seed is like an onion, dude. It has layers and it makes you cry.
Yeah, so Villagin, take me. What does clean water tell them right now? Or what does it do?
God, I mean, it tells them nearly nothing because there's so much random stuff. But yeah, I mean, it gives them access to just a ton of pickups around the world that are buried underwater. And here's one that Wilson's probably about to check. Yeah, he's going straight for the fake flippers that he checked way back at the beginning of the seed, which he knows is just a tiny bit of XP. So he's not going to care about that. But he also gets the quote-unquote long flippers, down here, and that could be the progression. There's a pool actually right near where he was in Hollow Grove that he could have checked near the spider water area that could have had something. With Stomp, which Ico find at the double jump tree, it could be the butter cell that we refer to in Hollow Grove. There's so many options, and they're all so stupid.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Willson is checking wanted pickups here. Ico is making quick work of BRB. Seems to be going the lower route here. We don't get to see this very often in a randomizer.
Oh, did he just get a bash bug? Oh, that's terrible.
But yeah, beautiful series of double bashes here to get quickly up through the the double jump wall interaction. That was very well done. Good save.
Yeah, that was a really good recovery. Unfortunately, I'm not sure he has a good place to get across. Oh, he's gonna... I love this. He already has enough ability points to level up Charge Dash, so he uses a rocket jump to recover from that. Very clever. Just saves him the repeat travel down there. And now we're seeing some outer swamp from Willson, so we're going to get some new checks from him while Igo is kind of finishing up stuff that Wilson's already done a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and with the charge dash, Ico also has access to plants now, which is very interesting because we haven't seen any of those checked yet.
That could potentially be very important. I think Willson should have the ability points for in the very near future as well, but has not opened his menu in a little bit, so I haven't gotten to see. But that shouldn't be a huge difference between the two of them for too much longer. It's just, as for example, Wilson's going through Swamp here and doing the all skills style Swamp entry, you gotta wonder, does that plant that he just stood on have something important?
Yeah, I'm also really interested to see if he actually decides to go all the way into Swamp or if he just wanted to check that ability cell. Swamp without wall interaction can be a quite rough experience.
I go checking the dash plant and collecting a map stone, so nothing earth-shattering from that one, but you got to think that Willson will have that in his mind as well. That dash plant, very, very easy one to forget.
It's interesting that Willson decides to skip the long swim here. I think that could have been a quite good play. Like, pickups that are quite quick compared to what they've been able to, but he's instead going to go with this cool fish double bashing to get up to the swamp suite, leaving no need for wall interaction.
Almost spoke slightly too soon. But yeah, that one missed double bash unfortunately costs too much health on the fish. And now he's just having trouble getting up here, and he needs the projectile from the mortar worm. And oh my gosh, dude, this is quite something. Oh, and there's Ico's Glades water vein clue. Reminder that the water vein's located at the Gladeser, and there's not many locations in Glades, so that shouldn't cause too much of a problem for Ico.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to decide to go look for it immediately or just say, I'm going to save it for later. I don't need it right now. It seems like he will be heading into potentially light grenade area. No, he's just going to continue over to the right side of lower BRB.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Grenade be the very next thing he does, since he does have Dash and Stomp. Meanwhile, we've got Willson heading back to a teleporter to go to where? Ow, that's a boulder.
Yeah, I don't know if you can just dash under it, but I definitely know that you can use a save anywhere to remove the kill boxes on this boulder.
So, regrettably, I do know that you can dash under it, but it is stupidly precise, so don't try it. But yeah, Ico got what he was going for there, which was just double jumping over it. Nice little simple and clever way to get by, and he also manages to keep his Frankie alive by doing that.
Yeah, now we have Willson going into the glide warp here.
Oh, we didn't get to see this earlier.
35 experience. Probably not worth Wilson's time, if you'd ask me right now.
So Willson finally heading down into the Moon Grotto to get to the double jump tree. He currently, his main advantage over Ico is the Charge Flame tree, and the Stomp tree is kind of like, it's going to be pretty straightforward for Ico to get, thanks to Stomp and being able to do the same all skills style entry, but it's interesting because of the lack of wall interaction, neither of them having found it yet. Ico will be coming back into Grotto with plant breaking in hand, but I, I guess we'll see. Maybe he's you know, gonna sequence break and be able to find the wall interaction. Maybe not.
Yeah, and Ico getting a little bit of an interesting glitch there, getting sucked into the corner with these moving walls here. But he's going to revisit Grotto for a plant break, or for checking plants, and I kind of like that play.
That was a little bit painful, possibly intentional, actually, now that I see. He may have been saying, I'm good, I had my save back in Blackroot Burrows, and I wanted to return there, so he does. Gets an energy cell, which could be very, very useful from the Boulder XP, and we are going to the grenade tree.
Yeah, it's really interesting how their paths have been super diverged, and then they just met for a short while, and then they were off to their own business again.
We're going to see a rocket jump from Ico, almost making it up to that ability cell. I saw him practicing this before this race, but this is kind of an awkward rocket jump. There's another way you can do this off of a slime just below here, because this one's kind of annoying because of that idiot slime dropping his crap everywhere, but he does manage to pick it up.
Man, they are just not getting anything but small experience pickups. Let's see if the mini boss over here is going to be something.
I believe Ico did check this earlier. Looks like it was just an ability cell.
So, well, what do you think the runners are really looking for right now?
Man, it's so hard to say. I mean, this scene could be depriving them of wall interaction for, like, ever. Like, it could be in Horror Fields, and then it's just like, you're not getting that. No one's going there. They don't want to go there. That's a terrible place. But I don't know. I mean, that could be the difference if one of them says, I will go to Horror Fields, and maybe that makes the difference in the scene. It's so hard to say right now, Oosh.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a while. Like, if they keep getting starved for abilities, like they're doing now, someone will probably make the decision, but they're just stuck to one-offs right now, or like awkward swims for Willson. Yeah, it's a really tough position they're in.
Well, Willson having a very difficult time making it out of that mini boss with double jump only because it sucks. Ico, meanwhile, approaching the grenade tree. That is tree number 5 for him, I believe? No, 4 for him. So he still needs to get the Charge Flame tree and the Stomp tree. He's had access to Charge Flame for ages, and I think, as you alluded earlier, he might have forgotten about the existence of the Grove Teleporter as a pickup way, way earlier in the scene.
Luckily for him, it seems like Willson had also forgotten it, so it's not going to come into play.
Yeah, no, now that he has Charge Flame, Charge Dash, he can just break his way in there, so a nice, convenient method for him to access the Charge Flame tree now, and that'll get him up to tree number 5.
And he's going to be able to check this plant. Very excited. It's a map stone. Could come into use.
All excitement completely ruined.
Oh, and Willson took a bit of a death here. Decided to go back and grab this wind restored either way.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. You never know when you're going to find Glide. You really don't want to abandon a pickup like Wind Restored, so even though it's a little bit time-consuming, making sure to claim that. Ico, you know, interesting to think about Keystone counts. Oh, man. Well, he did save nearby, so could have been worse.
Yeah. 6 trees is really... Or 5 trees. And he gets the Stomp as well now. But yeah, 5 trees and 4 trees is really impressive with the few tools they have.
Well, Ico having gotten the Swamp Teleporter is coming up here, but he does not have the Water Vein. And I'll tell you who does have the Water Vein. Willson. The only other person in this race, so obviously. But that could, you know, make an important difference right now, because it's not accessible in logic, but I think Ginso Tree might be doable with only the skills they have.
Yeah, it seems like Willson is going to decide for lower BRB, and I think that makes a lot of sense now that he's gotten Dash, he has Stomp. So he can, it is in logic, but he's probably skipped a few steps over how he was supposed to get to that.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. We do talk about the logic a lot, like whether things are in logic, but it could be the case that it is in logic, it's just they haven't found the thing that puts it in logic yet. And that could be any number of things. We're going to see now, Eiko is in the main area of Hollow Grove. We're going to see if he will head over to the left and pick up clean water. We'll also see if he's going to make that very savvy play it would take to go into Horu Fields with just these skills. It is available, but God, it sucks.
Yeah, and Eiko just getting the information that now he has clean water. But it seems like he will still be going for the Horu Fields here. He's definitely going to get the teleporter. I think that's a clever play because it's going to save him a little bit of time when everything is coming together. And we're just getting told here that Sunstone, the clue for Sunstone is in Ginso.
Oh baby. So that's not going to do too much for Willson that he doesn't already have. I mean, he's going to want to go to Ginso anyway, and he needs to find skills. All he's got is the same set that Eiko has: dash, stomp, bash, and double jump. That's it. And so Eiko heading into Horu Fields right now, but Willson is going to go left with bash and stomp. He says that he's just going to go ahead and start advancing on the left side of the map, and it's Charge Flame is the progression. Are you kidding me?
This is kind of incredible. Oh, Willson finds wall interaction and climb, or in the plant.
Wow.
Yeah, this is...
Wow, dude.
This is a seed. I wonder if Eiko is going to find more stuff here.
I mean, there was climb in the plant, so that could, hypothetically, have been the only thing. But it kind of beggars belief right now that that's the only thing.
Yeah, and it's still, like, Horu Fields is not an easy place to be with the skills that they currently have.
Yeah, Eiko's doing a very valiant job of navigating it. This is a difficult area to deal with. He gets to the plant to claim his mega health. Actually, that's pretty nice right now since he was taking a lot of damage, so definitely going to appreciate that a little bit, but probably would have rather it were a skill.
And meanwhile, Willson has made the decision with climb to go into the Ginso tree, and he also has charge dash, as we saw earlier, so that is going to make everything up until the bash tree available for him, at the very least.
Yeah, and then, I mean, with bash in hand, he can continue even further. Bash and, I don't know if I saw him got extra double jump, but I believe he would have because it was just in Grotto, so I think he should have triple jump at this point, which basically just makes everything massively easier. Speaking of things that could be massively easier, this pickup that Eiko is trying to get to is a huge pain. So he is actually going to abandon it. He says, all right, I got Charge Flame. I'm going to have to hope that that was it. That was all I needed.
And that's a very understandable decision because getting through that lava area is just so brutal without wall interaction. But I wonder here, Wooligan, do you think now that Willson has wall interaction, he has bash, he has a way to break walls, is he just going to say, you know what, I am just going to start going for trees?
Man, it is hard to say, especially because of, I mean, the one good thing he knows is that the Sunstone is in Ginso. There is nothing grenade locked in Ginso, which means he knows it's impossible for that to be required. But there's other skills that could just make things significantly easier. For example, charge jump would be fantastic to have on top of the climb that he's got. He could certainly live without it. This is technically a kind of go mode, but ooh boy, and, it's not an easy one.
Yeah, definitely. Eiko is treading new ground here, going for this this laser stomp area, having a bit of a weird loading experience with different scenes here.
I didn't even see that fish on there. Oh my goodness.
Oh, man, Ori has lost his mind. Fish are coming out of brambles. No wall interaction.
Well, Bash Tree collected for Willson, but the Sunstone was not there. What is there in the Ginso tree for him so far is the Valley Teleporter, which is very, Very nice. And what else are we going to get? Just a mega energy. So he's got to continue even deeper. I mean, there's a lot of pickups still left in Ginso.
Yeah. And the question is, like, how far can he continue?
I think the entire thing is doable.
Yeah, can he? Yeah, right. He has bash. That makes it. That should make most things a breeze.
Yeah, climb is not anyone's idea of the best kind of wall interaction, but it certainly works.
And there's the Sunstone.
There it is, and he does not need anything else, so he heads straight on out, while Eiko, unfortunately, is now going to be kind of going to have to play catch-up a little bit and get to Ginso as soon as possible. But to do that, he needs the Water Vein, which is at Gladezer, and that is going to take just a quick leap for him to get.
And yeah, Willson, like, he's combined his search very well with gathering trees, so he's already at a 7 out of 10 tree count.
Yeah, just the left side of the map left, and you know, it did occur to me what the big miss is right now for Willson. It's Glide.
It's definitely Glide. That would definitely put him into final go mode, where you don't have to do extremely difficult tricks and skips to get through the game.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's confident with some of those alternative strats, but Glide would just obviate having to do any of those. It would make it significantly easier to finish. So this is an interesting situation, and one thing that could definitely save Eiko, aside from the fact that he's about to get dash right here, one thing that could definitely save Eiko is potentially find... Never mind. Glide is in Valley, and Willson just picked it up, so there you go.
Yeah, that is definitely not good news for Eiko. So hopefully with this climb pickup that he is potentially going to find soon, unless he skips it. Eiko, please go back.
No, he just got it.
He just got it. Okay, I missed it. Yeah. I was like, oh no, is he just going to skip the plant? But yeah, Willson has definitely carved himself a bit of a lead here. But it's still every man's game so far.
Yeah, there's possibilities for Eiko. It is a theoretical possibility that Willson can have some trouble with some strats that come up still, but I think his health amount is pretty good. He's got Glide, he's got Bash and Stomp. Not having Wall Jump is pretty annoying, but not really that huge of a deal. And Charge Jump is not going to limit him that much with Bash in his possessions. So I think the problem for Eiko right now is that Wilson's very high execution level is going to have an opportunity to come into play, and Eiko can't really, he doesn't really have anything to deal with that, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's doing a bit of a clever play here with dash and climb. Oof, and takes a serious turbo def into some spikes. But he gets through.
Oh no. Okay. Oh god, I was terrified for a second there. Because this is the pickup that has Glide in it. He just needs to stomp this bird. There you go. And there it is. Alright, so Eiko's going to be in go mode as well. He doesn't have the keys yet, but he knows that the Water Vein's in Glades, and when he gets to Feather, he will know that the Sunstone is in Ginso, and so he won't need to do any more searching if he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I definitely, hopefully if Willson joins us for an interview, I want to pick his brain for what compelled him to go Gladezer. Because it wasn't logic, but it is just one of those things that people avoid so often.
Well, it's definitely a really big, like, meta game play that you can do if you have that, like, skill advantage. And I don't want to imply that Eiko is not a skilled player, but the contrast is, of course, Willson is second place in the world in all skills, no out of bounds, no teleport anywhere, the main category of speedrunning this game. So, like, his level of skill is ridiculous. It is higher than nearly everyone else. But when you have that advantage, you can make use of it in ways like saying, hey, I'm not going to allow my opponent to have potentially an advantage by checking something like obscure and out of the way. I'm going to take some of the advantage I'm going to gain from having that extra skill, and I'm going to use that to check things that just take some extra time. And where's that?
Eiko found charge jump.
Oh,
in,
wow.
In Lower Valley.
Oh my goodness, those are two huge pickups, but Grenade is kind of pointless at this point, whereas Charge Jump will actually be very, very nice for Ico. Unfortunately, though, there's only one tree left for Willson, and that's Climb, so you see Ico just doing Ginso for the first time, but Willson is going to be heading there to finish up pretty shortly.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though Ico is definitely going to get Grenade later, he... I don't think the added advantage of doing grenade jumps is gonna save the disadvantage he's at currently.
Yeah, we're talking about like many minutes here, unfortunately for Ico, and that's not salvageable at this point unless Willson has some very this. Unless he has some of this.
But yeah, both runners and Misty, they definitely have the tools to deal with it, and they're just dashing through it. We see Ico is still checking a bit of pickups, while Willson is just ignoring them completely. He's confident he can finish the game.
Yeah, it could be for Keystones. Well, he has 10 Keystones. It's probably not for Keystones. More likely to just be... oh, there's grenade locked pickups in Glades, and he does not know that the water veins at Glades are that is
right. Yeah, that's one of the really hard decisions in Rando as well. When you get the clue, you go to the area even though you might not be able to check everything.
Yeah, and that certainly explains why he was a little bit reticent to start his Glades search, because there's not many pickups in Glades, but two of them are absolutely grenade locked, and there's nothing to get around that. They just are not accessible. He is avoiding going to the teleporter for now, so he might be deciding to do his water vein check and try to eliminate those grenade locked locations. So that will get him that knowledge once he does Gladeser, which I think will be his first thing right here. Yeah, that'll get him the knowledge that he doesn't need grenade, then of course he will get grenade.
Yeah, that is going to take a bit of a load off his mind, but Willson is already heading towards Ginsu, or Horu. Wrong escape he was going for, or I was going for. Yeah, he's just going to go for the finish here with his 10 trees.
Having Bash Grenade is kind of nice. It does give him the ability to get some verticality that he normally would need Charge Jump to get. And he's definitely not getting Charge Jump since that's all the way back in Valley. And he's going to get to the Mount Horu door, and then we're going to get to see some nearly all skills style final escape. I guess lacking climb makes that kind of weird, but, or sorry, lacking wall jump makes that kind of weird. But we'll see how that goes. Ico discovering that you can't save here in this spot until the Franki's actually dead. If he jumps down, it doesn't count.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit awkward. I was a little scared he was going to go away for Gladeser there for a moment, but he is deciding to go for it. Doing a little bit of a different approach here, but it is a little bit faster. Let's see if he can pull it off here. Meanwhile, Willson, yeah.
Checking the validation XP for, I guess a skill could have been there, so... You know, maybe something would have been nice to have, but he also did level up Ultra Defense. So with Clean Water, Ultra Defense, Bash, Grenade, and Dash, I don't think he has even the slightest thing to worry about here. This is going to be a pretty straightforward final escape.
Yeah, and Ico having a little bit of trouble with this this harder version of getting to Gladeser, but it's definitely going to be worth his trouble. And there it is. He gets the water vein.
I don't know at what time you kind of get this sinking feeling like, oh, my opponent's gonna be winning. I know that that Ico in general kind of expected Willson to be, you know, a very, very difficult opponent for him, and Willson has definitely shown why. He was able to make good use of his, you know, skill advantage right from the start, thanks to the presence of Dash and just, you know, little things in BRB here and there, and he was able to turn that into the advantage on just checking Gladeser when it was really just a time-consuming pickup, but that was no problem for him, and he finishes the final escape here. So GG to Willson. He's going to move to 2-1, while Ico will drop to 1-2 here.
Yeah, of a 44 or low or high 33 is definitely very impressive for a seed kind of like this. They were starved for so long.
Man, there's no wall interaction scenes. It's just really awkward, and routing them well is very difficult. So kudos to Willson on, I mean, not only, you know, we're harping on the skill difference, but just as well, Willson getting to the locations that had the things he needed sooner was also a big part of the difference. And I go frantically circling the grenade pickup as maybe he's excited about having grenade jumps, or maybe he's upset that he didn't get that sooner.
Yeah, it was hard to tell if those were excited or frustrated mouse movements. But he's going to be heading to the Ginso tree to pick up his 9th skill tree.
Indeed, and as he does that, Willson is just holding right to finish up just a little bit of Naru walking in order to get to the end. And there it is, finishes with a final time of 43-29. GG to him. He is victorious and will improve to 2-1 as mentioned.
And yeah, Igo just has to finish up his remaining trees, so I don't think it will take him too long. He is probably also at the point where he's going to say, I got all I need, let's just go to the finish as quickly as possible.
Indeed, we'll get to see whether or not he chooses to do any farming here. It looks like a little bit in the Ginso tree. I think he does not need to be concerned about his keystone count. He's got 4 for the... Oh, he does, because he's got 4 for the door here to bash. He has got 2 for the door to swamp, but what he doesn't have is possibly another 4 for the top door. And he does not know that the Sunstone is before the top door, so he's hedging his bets there.
I completely forgot he didn't have Sunstone. But I wonder if he's going to go for the key dupe or check and then...
Let's see. He might be able to set up for it. He might, I mean, it's certainly possible he doesn't know how to key dupe. I know Ico knows a ton of the randomizer tricks, and we're hearing from Skull in the truck, who probably knows them better than anyone else as far as rando goes, that he might not know this specific one. But he does know the Sorrow key dupe and the Forlorn key dupe, for example. Those are the quickest by far.
Yeah, this one right here is definitely very slow. Requires you to go very far back, but the one a little further up can be done quite fast. So we'll see if he goes for that. How did
that ground break a minute ago? That was really weird. I'm super confused, but whatever, it's fine. Anyway, we've got our Gumon Seal clue now for Ico. Apparently it was Gumon Seal and Misty.
Yeah, not really useful info anymore. Nothing interesting in Forlorn for the runners. Maybe Wall Jump was hiding down there, but they don't need it anymore.
I am pretty curious about that, to be honest. Ico getting his Valley Teleporter. Might have wanted that a little bit earlier, but both runners wanted to go through Valley entry anyway, so not a big deal.
Yeah, he's very shortly going to find the Sunstone here. And Charge Jump, just making Ginso just a little bit faster.
Yeah, Charge Jump is probably one of the best skills in this game. Double Jump is probably the highest ratio of how early you get it versus how useful it is. But Charge Jump is just super powerful, does 50 damage to whatever it hits. And Ico does collect his Sunstone from that key location in Ginso, and he's now completely in go mode, just needs to wrap up the Stomp Tree, and then he will be able to finish this seed.
Yeah, it's I had something on my mind, Willigin, and it just completely slipped me. Yes, okay, so Double Jump is one of those interesting skills where it only unlocks a few things, but the convenient thing about it is that, I feel at least, that it can save you very often from bad jumps or something that you miscalculated. It's a good correctional ability.
Yeah, that's exactly the reason that I love it as well, because you just have so much more opportunity to correct for mistakes. A beautiful grenade jump coming out of Ico there. the tech that Willson might have liked to have had, where you perch on a wall, charge up a wall charge jump, and then you throw a grenade 1 frame before jumping. And if done correctly, then it causes you to go flying at high speed, which is always very entertaining.
Yeah,
and nice and quick as well.
And it was a super good spot to do it. So, final and 10th tree. I could only imagine that Eiko will be heading towards Horu, and as we saw him do a couple of minutes earlier, he already has picked up the Horu teleporter, so it's going to be nice and quick to get to that dungeon.
Indeed, making good use of charge dashes and regular dashes, and he also has the rainbow effect on his dashes just for fun. He has the Horu Fields teleporter, so he's got the opportunity to teleport there and save a little bit of time, and he will be able to get to the door of Mount Horu before too long, and then we'll get to see our good old friend, the best trick in the game, door warp.
So how many attempts do you think it's going to take him?
I'm going to guess that it will take an integer number of attempts, and possibly even a whole number of attempts.
I think you're definitely correct there. I know that some believe that the amount of keystones is indicative of how many attempts it's going to take. So according to that, we're going to see.
I've heard some superstitions, Yush, but that one, whew.
You don't subscribe to it? We'll see. I'm going to guess 2 now.
I think the only superstition I subscribe to is if you're on a good pace in a speedrun, it is impossible to get first try door warp. And if you're on a bad pace, it is impossible to miss it. And I guess in this case, if you are unfortunately losing the race, then it is impossible to miss it. So there you go, first try for Eiko.
Yeah, he killed the door warp and the superstition that keystones are an indicator for door warp attempts.
Alright, well, final escape for Eiko. Again, it should be very straightforward, even more straightforward than Wilson's, thanks to having 2 additional skills. Very nearly actually falls under that boulder there that was falling, but fortunately he's all good. He's just going to navigate this lava pillar, take a nice little dip in some completely clean water in a bit, and this should be really, really easy.
Yeah, some cool use of grenade just to speed up this laser pillar section just a little bit. I feel like every time I watch a rando race, Willigen, I learn something new.
That's my favorite thing about it, Ush, is there's always something new to learn about the randomizer. There's so much tech and so many things to learn. There's always something to pick up.
Yeah, and everyone has their little favorite thing they like to do, or a quirk they have. And it's awesome to see that personality can shine through in gameplay.
Well, here's the grenade jump for Eiko, and he does have a little bit of a tentative setup, but gets it on the first attempt at the inputs, and he will be able to finish up just about 40 seconds. GG to him. Opened up the menu for a very brief instant there, but fortunately did not decide to exit game.
Yeah, that would have been a bit unfortunate. Would have to do the entire escape again. But yeah, we'll see in a bit if Eiko and Willson... I can see that Willson is on deck, so we'll probably pull him in for an interview once Eiko is done and ready as well. And it's going to be very interesting to pick their brain about this horribly starved seed in the beginning.
Eiko crossing the finish line at 51:22. He had a few brief moments there of pondering, and he opted in SRL chat to share his thought on the seed, which was, ah.
I can understand that reaction.
Yeah,
it was definitely an ah seed.
All right, well, let's go ahead and grab our 2 runners into here. We've got Willson and we've got Eiko. We're going to start with Willson. GG to you. Congratulations on the victory. And tell us a little bit about what the heck is logic.
Hey, guys. GG Eiko, first of all. Juan, what a seed. What even is logic? Yeah, I have no idea. I threw everything about the logic out the window very early in that seed. I had no idea where to go, what was in logic or out of logic, because we didn't have like real wall interaction. So I had no clue of really where to go. So I just tried to go fast.
Yeah. I mean, that Glazer play was a solid indication of that. Tell me a little bit about how you decided to just go to the Glazer that early. Like, what was going through your mind? What did you think of?
Well, I noticed. I think I just opened the energy door to the Death Gauntlet, so that just hit me that, oh, I have 4 energy. Glazer is probably in logic, and that was like my last attempt at trying to get something like what could be in logic at this point. So I just went for the Glazer and hoped for the best, and it wasn't progression like in the moment, but I got really lucky with that being the water vein. So like overall throughout this seed I was so lucky with so many things. So this could have been so much worse, but I just got really, really lucky, I feel like.
Eiko, I want to direct a question at you and take you back to a moment where you found Climb, and then shortly after you find a Glide, and this was fairly late into the race. And how did that affect you? Were you worried that Willson might have found it earlier, or
I mean, so worry was like not really a thing, because we found Dash about 5 minutes in, and it was like, I don't really want to forfeit because I want to play the seed, but at that point I'd already basically given up. I can't really beat Willson if we get Dash early. That's just not really a thing that I thought was like plausible. When I got Climb, I was like, oh, that makes the logic make a lot more sense. And I guess if I went left side now, I might luck out if Willson got stuck looking for the water vein. But I don't really think that panned out as a strategy. Or rather, I think it was the correct strategy, but the part where Willson got getting stuck didn't pan out.
Yeah, that's the thing about the randomizer. Sometimes you got to take risk and gambles, and sometimes they don't pan out.
I did appreciate, Eiko, I think you typed in SRL chat. I think I know what the logic was, and I think we eventually managed to suss it out, but I want to bring up the Horu Fields play. Did you know that was in logic with only the skills you had?
Yeah.
And basically, what was your ordering of operations for getting around to doing things like Horu Fields and then that Valley entry area?
My order of operations was a lot of question marks. I decided to, like, I didn't do a lot of playing in the seed because I stopped trying to play strategically for like after we got dashed till like 30 minutes later when I noticed Willson hadn't finished. And so in between, I just did stuff that sounded interesting, including teaching myself how to double jump wall climb, which was the impetus on a lot of my decisions earliest, particularly going into Grotto.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you picked it up fairly quickly. We saw a lot of double jump wall interaction from you guys. But yeah, Willson, I want to ask you, as Eiko mentioned, Dash was only 5 minutes into the seed. What did you think when you picked that up? Did it calm you down?
Yeah, like this. So the start of this seed was exactly like the ideal seed for me. Dash, bash, double jump, a lot of like movement-oriented skills. So that was great. And then I had no idea where to go really. So as I said, I just tried to go fast. Which went pretty well. I mean, I think I checked quite a lot, I think at least. But I didn't seem to be able to find a lot of progression in the early game. So I felt like it was really slow for me, or very, very inefficient sort of in the early game, just because I felt like I had missed something. Maybe I had missed a grenade pickup so that it was a bash grenade seed. Maybe I had missed climb or wall jump so that like I would know where to go according to the logic. So that was in the back of my head throughout most of the seed. Like, did I miss something in the early game? But I'd like to say that I enjoyed the seed overall. It was very interesting to play.
Right. I'm slipping questions today. I had a good one and it went for me. So yeah, Villagin, unless you have something to ask, I want to say thanks for the runners. That was very entertaining, and thanks to the Trump.
Yeah, guys. GG. Again, congratulations to Willson. Aiko, you're still 1-2, so you have 2 more matches that you do have an opportunity to win. And I mean, like, the thing I want to point out in this match is, despite the idea that, like, oh, it was basically lost as soon as Willson got dash, this seed threw you guys both for a big loop, and both of you actually ended up at times being distinctly ahead. So it was a really good race, actually, and until the point where Willson lucked onto climb. I shouldn't say lucked onto, you know what I mean. Found climb at the same time Aiko found charge flame, the thing needed to get climb. That was kind of the turning point. So GG to both of you, and thanks for joining us for this interview.
Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
All right. Well, Oosh, it was a pleasure commentating with you for sure. I look forward to doing it again, but we do have more randomizer coming up, don't we?
Most likely. Let me very quickly.
I'm pulling it up too.
we have such a jam-packed schedule that it's like there's basically randomizer to watch all week.
All right, I got it. We have got coming up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so in about half an hour, we have got Team Lake Luck. That is Lake and Luck. Their team versus Asa Tim's, the team of J-Hobbs and Rebel. They will be going head-to-head in the last doubles match of this round of Swiss. So after that point, it will be the end of the doubles round, but then we still have 2 singles matches to go later in the day. So a lot of good stuff still coming up. Make sure to stay tuned. The doubles match will be coming up on Speed Gaming. The singles will be coming up later on Speed Gaming 3.
And I want to point out that the 2 single races and the double race are all going to be very exciting because it's super skilled runners doing it. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, don't miss the next ones.
Agreed. Well, for now, thank you again to our truckers. We had Skullblocka and Nans helping us out on this race. And thank you very much to Smashy for restreaming as always. And we will be heading off for now. So stick around, open up another Speed Gaming channel to relax for a bit, but stick around for Speed Gaming 1 in half an hour.